Okay, Faith Adedeji is also here. How are you doing, Faith? Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm doing very fine. Good afternoon, Blessing. Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon to our esteemed listeners as well. It's a derby weekend. Maybe I should quickly just answer that question. Why the Schalke and Dortmund derby is called the mother of all derbies? Maybe it's one of the fiercest rivalries in football. Maybe many people don't know about it, but two teams domiciled in the Ruhr region of Germany. In fact, if you're a fan of Dortmund, you are not allowed to utter the name of the club side of the other one. You just regard them with whatever demeaning name that you deem fit. That is how, fierce this kind of rivalry. Fervent fans, we all know about Dortmund fans, maybe because of the kind of European pedigree they've been able to garner in the last few years. We know what they bring to the table, when it comes to Europe. We know how crazy their fans can be. Schalke 04 fans are also like that. So that is why that rivalry is that big. Maybe that is why it's called the mother of all rivalry. Always good to be on World Sports.
You've just spoken about what happens with fans off the pitch. I mean, if you look at the action that goes on the pitch, can you describe it as mother of all derbies? I mean, I see the Milan derby somewhere. All of these derbies that brings the excitement, that brings the action. I mean, so undeniable.
Basically, derbies are about the fans. We cannot take anything away from that. The players will feel the pulse of the fans. They will feel the kind of buzz that the fans will create. But it's about the bragging rights for the fans. You want to get into your workplace on a Monday morning and look at your colleague and tell him, well, my club got one over your club, over the course of the weekend. That is what this kind of, rivalries bring, because most often than not, you are most likely in the same city, and so that is why I understand why, maybe not on the footballing angle, just like you said. Maybe both clubs don't really. It's not like they're fighting for the Bundesliga title, or maybe fighting for the European Championship and all that, one of those big titles. But then it doesn't take anything away from that derby being a very fierce rivalry.
Okay, Faith just said that, derbies are about the fans. And I look at it from last year. Since last year, we've not had fans in our stadiums. We've not had fans, come cheer their team on. I wonder if that takes anything away from any of the derbies you should be seeing later today, Fermi.
Yeah, definitely. Good afternoon to you, Blessing. Good afternoon to the guys. And of course, to our wonderful listener out there. Of course, that what actually makes a football match much more interesting is definitely the excitement, the entertainment, the boos of the fans. I mean, you can't actually take that away from what we call entertainment, because football itself is entertainment, and what actually brings that entertainment on the field of play is because of the fans that are there to actually cheer these players, to make them happy, to actually encourage them on the field of play. And now that we are not really having that, of course, we've really had our entertainment cut short to some extent, though the players are still giving us some fantastic goals right there, skills right there on the field of play. But then with the addition of fans, it balances everything. It makes it much more exciting, and that is what exactly is also missing in the world of NBA, and of course the All-Star games that will be coming up next week. I mean, the fans are not going to be there. Majority of these players are not really excited, despite the fact that they've actually been told that the game will have to go ahead, talking about Team Durant and of course Team LeBron right there. But then the fans is what really makes the NBA All-Stars really, really interesting, and that has actually been taken away from them. So they just have to do it on a normal way, and nothing really to actually look forward to. Maybe just talking about what these guys will bring to the table. Aside from that, the fans is what actually gets them going. But now that that is not actually included, I mean, we just have to settle for what we have at this point in time.
Indeed, we settle for what we have right now at the moment. For the Australian Open final, we had fans in the stadium to see Naomi Osaka dispatch Jennifer Brady. I'm hoping that gradually football will begin to ease into having fans back, because they are a very, very important
football
part of our
is already
sport.
having fans back.
I mean, major football leagues. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say, even in the same Australia league, you still have fans.
Major football leagues.
I think it's just a thing of it's just peculiar to how each country has been able to just deal with it. It's not really. I don't expect the global sport to ease back into the era of having fans
at the same time,
in the stadium at the same time. I think it's just going to take some time. It's always going to be in batches. I think for now we are currently seeing fans back in the stadium in Australia, in New Zealand, even some other parts of the world as well. But I think it's just going to take a long time. Pass after this particular set of countries, some other countries might also just take that bold step, especially now that we have various vaccines already. Maybe this will rather just, quicken the process, exactly. Just that at least before the end of next year, or even before the end of this year, you just never can tell.
Before the end of this year. Yeah. Remember, the major sporting event for the year 2021 is the Tokyo Olympics, moved from last year to this year. And I imagine the Tokyo Olympics without fans, and that's what Japan are trying to work in everything, all hands on deck, trying as much as possible to ensure that they host the Olympics with fans in attendance. Okay, let's start off with football. Before we start talking about all of the different derbies we have for the weekend, I'm starting off from the French Ligue 1, where Memphis Depay scored the decisive goal as Lyon survived a fight back at Brest to go top of Ligue 1. The visitors led 3-0 at the break through Lucas Paqueta and Osem Aouar. Remember Osem Aouar that Arsenal was pursuing at some point, and Depay's penalty, but mid-table Brest battled back, and goals from Brendan Chardonnay and Ivan Cardona led to a nervy final 60 minutes for the visitors. But of course, they held on to that, and they moved at top of the table on goal difference. That's Lyon above Lille on goal difference, and go 1 point clear of Paris Saint-Germain. And PSG, who were in scintillating form in the Champions League as they won 4-1 at Barcelona on Tuesday, they are hosting 4th place Monaco. And a victory for them will send them to the top of the table. That's provided Lille lose their game as well, because Lille are travelling to 4th bottom placed Lorient in that game. Faith, quickly, PSG and their chances.
Well, they are in a very rich vein of form right now, based on the kind of victory they got in the Champions League. When you get victories against club sides like Barcelona, then obviously you understand how big those kind of victories will also amount to. And then you also look at the fact that they can actually replicate it. If they win their game against Monaco, then they go top of the table. They won, and usually it's a 3rd versus 4th, place game with Monaco in 4th position. Maybe they've been able to find a way around their woes in recent seasons. Maybe they've also exposed that Thierry Henry was actually not good enough when he was the coach, because one way or the other, they are now in the mix at fighting for Champions League spots and all that. And if they get a result against PSG today, it will cut down the gap between themselves and the 3rd place PSG. So you understand the magnitude of that game for Monaco. But for PSG, I don't expect any form of, bad results in that game for them. Mbappe with the kind of form, after scoring a hat-trick against Barcelona, I expect him to blow, Monaco apart. But then it's football. Anything can still happen. I expect Monaco as well to put up a fight. I don't expect them to just lie down for PSG to just gloss over them and all that. But that game, I hope it will provide the kind of fireworks we always look out for in Europe.
Okay, we hope they provide that firework. We're going to talk about the La Liga, but not before we pay these bills. We'll go on a quick commercial break. We return. We'll talk about La Liga for a bit, Atletico Madrid and their bid for the title, Barcelona, how they're doing, and then Real Madrid, all of the troubles they have in their team injury-wise at the moment. And then we'll talk about the Italian Serie A, where we have the Milan derby. Stay with us, Still Watch Sports on Splash 105.5 FM.
1960 bets don't return with big FCO as they don't arrange new management. We don't come back better and stronger. Then they pay commission to their agents' bank accounts and winnings to their customers. Sharply. No delay. You fit do football to better games plus live bet jackpot for inside 1960 bet. Visit their website on top www.1960bet.com. 1960 bet.
Like this. What you need is this. New Predator Energy Drink. Rule your kingdom. Now sells for only 200 naira.
Need to see the best performance in person?
With almost 100,000 Instagram followers and over 100,000 followers on Twitter. Wow! And more than 250,000 followers on Facebook. Our followers are our greatest assets. Join our social media family for breaking news, daily information, and giveaways. On Instagram and Twitter at Splash FM 1055. On Facebook at www.facebook.com/Splash FM 105.5.
My people, better
Better don't land. Make una come see ogbonge cable where them manufacture for we obodo Nigeria. Now Purochem cables. Purochem cables na correct electrical cable where they reliable, dependable, and the people where they make them call they safety conscious. Purochem cables get original copper and aluminium cable for different sizes them where you fit use for electrical wiring level for anywhere. Whether na your house, or in your office, the price uncle in no the tear pocket at all. Nationwide distribution don't start. For more information, call 0808 030 3257 0808 030 3257. Purochem Cable and Wire Limited. They have print compound, 4 tickets, 122/132. Oshodia Papa Expressway, Iyano Solo Bus Stop, Lagos. Purochem Cables, Nigerian electrical contractors endorser, SON approver. Purochem Cables, na Yubico.
Bálẹ̀ mi, ẹ ò jẹun yín látẹ̀ẹ̀kan, kí ló dé?
Wo Àbẹ̀kẹ́, inú mi ò dùn. Owó tí mo ná fi tún ìṣe tó tọ̀hún ṣe nínú ilé yìí ti pọ̀ jù. Ó tójú sú mi.
Dájú, washing machine máa tún ti dẹnu kọlẹ̀.
Kí la wá ṣe báyìí o? Yọra rẹ kúrò nínú ìdààmú. Má jẹ́ káwọn kọlọ̀rọ̀ sí hàn léèmọ̀. Gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó kàn sí Solat Electronics Showroom lónìí. Bó o ṣe mú fóònù tàbí electronics tó bá fẹ́ ló máa jàǹfààní ẹ̀dínwó 20%, ìdá 20% lórí flat screen TV, deep freezer, air conditioner, washing machine, gas cooker àtàwọn ohun èlò ilé ní Solat Electronics. Solat Electronics gàgàbáànù àwọn tí ń ta fóònù àti electronics ló ti rí electronics lóríṣiríṣi àtọ́hun èlò tó lálòpẹ́ tó fini lọ́kànbalẹ̀ lówó tí ò ga jara. Kàn sí wa ní Solat Electronics ní GLN Dùgbẹ̀, Solat Megastore Mọ́kọ́lá, Isolac Building Mọ́kọ́lá àti ní Palms Mall Ring Road pẹ̀lú ti Challenge Ìbàdàn fún èyíkéyìí ẹ̀yà ojúlówó electronics àti fóònù tó bá ń fẹ́. Má gbàgbé o, Solat Electronics yóò fún ọ lẹ́dínwó 20% lórí ohun gbogbo tó bá rà lọ́wọ́ wọn. Fún àlàyé 0701
Brace up for the future. Study nursing, doctor of physiotherapy, medical laboratory science, accounting with ICANN professional certification, mass communication, criminology and security studies, software engineering, cybersecurity, biotechnology, and other relevant courses at Crestland University, Abeokuta, the university arm of Crestland Schools. Crestland University is a world-class university with state-of-the-art laboratories, libraries, studio, entrepreneurship certification, and good accommodation within a conducive environment for learning. At Crestland University, transfer to 200 and 300 levels are available at affordable rates. Top-up conversion programs are also available. Our upcoming program is law. Our fees are affordable with flexible payment plan. To apply, visit www.crestlanduniversity.edu.ng or call 0813-266-3928 and 0802-304-6920. Grab this opportunity at Crestland University. Intellectual radiance.
Are you satisfied with the level of your sales? Would you want to increase your customer base? Why not come do business with us at Splash FM 105.5 and we will help expose your products, skills and services to our audience. Visit us today at our corporate head office, White House at Felele Garden or call Tokwe on 0805 699 8685. Bukola on 0805 699-8713. Femi 0811-249-4234. You can also transact business at our Lagos office, number 1 Adebayo Akode Center, Oba Akran Road, Ikeja, Lagos. Call Yetunde on 0805-699-86 or email us at traffic@splashfm105.5.com. You would be glad to do business with us.
Splash FM 105.5.
Thank you for keeping it locked on Splash. Thanks for staying tuned to us right here on World Sport on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. We're streaming live on Facebook, so you can catch us this afternoon in the studio. We're talking about football, starting with all of the games that we have this weekend. We'll talk about them before we go to other sports. In the Spanish La Liga, we have Elche against Eibar, Atletico Madrid against Levante, Valencia against Celta Vigo, and Real Madrid going away to Real Valladolid. And tomorrow, Sunday, it's Barcelona against Cadiz, Real Sociedad against Alaves, Huesca Mallorca against Granada, and Athletic Bilbao against Villarreal. Feromi, I do not expect an upset between Barcelona and Cadiz, but of course, with what happened
during the week, yeah, definitely. At this point in time, I think Barcelona are actually getting form against the small teams, but still struggle against the big guys. So, and this, what a shame. That's just the way it is at this point in time. They're going through a restructuring process, and all these things are actually meant to happen. But then, I think they should be able to get all the needed result, because they know any loss from them will actually keep them more afar, from Atletico Madrid. Remember, Atletico Madrid, like you rightly said, up against Levante. I think they played a game against the same Levante during the course of the week, and it's ended 1-1, and they're having that that's the second leg of that game later this weekend again. And I'm very sure Diego Simeone would not want a repeat of what actually happened during the course of the week to happen again. So it's looking more like Atletico Madrid might actually win this game. So it's now left for the likes of Madrid and Barcelona to be able to do the job to keep closing that gap. They've dropped points through the course of the week. How do you actually respond to that is what is left to be seen from Barcelona later this weekend. But for me, I still think they should be able to bounce back from that defeat during the course of the week against Cadiz.
It's very, very surprising for me how Feromi describing Barcelona's talks about them in restructuring phase. They are trying to rebuild. But when it comes to a team like Manchester United, for instance, a team like Arsenal, for instance, dead and buried.
Yeah, I beg to disagree with that, though, because in the real sense of it, every team has its own peculiar challenge that they are facing. But then when you start making an excuse for one, and perhaps you're trying to give the other a longer rope to pull, I really don't subscribe to that. For the case of Barcelona, absolutely true. I think they're currently going through a rebuilding process. What I think is very, very good. One I think is also a bit of not a reactionary move, but rather an intuitive one to actually help them prepare for the foreseeable future. Obviously, Lionel Messi is not bound to stay at the club for longer anymore, be it at the end of this current season or even if it gets to extend for just a few more years. But the most important thing is they've started looking inwardly again to the La Masia, something I think they've not done in about 6 or 7 years before now, and they are already promoting young stars. And Sufati, remember, is still out injured. Hopefully will be back soon. Ricky Puig, a host of others right there. And I think these lads, fine, they may look so young and feeble at the moment, but I think with the kind of quality of players they're currently playing with, Sergio Busquets, Lionel Messi, a host of others, I think they are rather just learning the ropes from these lads, build their confidence, build their own pedigree, and ultimately come with their own style of play. And one way or the other, it will also rub off on the finances of Barcelona as well, because we know for a fact that this is not a club that has that financial capability anymore. They've got a whole lot of financial mess to deal with as we speak. So, I mean, it looks like really a wise decision. It's just about now giving the coach a bit of patience, because I'm not too sure they would actually win the Champions League this season. I think they're almost out already. Perhaps only their shadows is left in the tournament. The La Liga title as well, they seem to be some way off, about 9 points behind league leaders, Atletico de Madrid. I don't expect Atletico to actually bottle that, even though we are just barely 22 or 23 games into the season. But regardless, Barca don't just look like a team I feel or I fancy to win La Liga title. So they are also out of the the Copa del Rey. So it looks like this season is going to end trophyless for them. But regardless of that, I think whoever is going to come in as Barca's president would need to actually just sit down and, of course, reassess the whole thing and make sure that the principle, the legacy of Barca, which I think Ronald Koeman has been able to stick with to a large extent this season, is being kept, rather than just chasing the delusional trophies, which I think they've been doing in times past, and has obviously made them forget the genuine legacy of Barcelona, what we all know Barca for, which I think they are gradually just trying to actually, retrace their steps back to. And I think with time, maybe not this season, maybe not even the next season, but I think indeed, if they can actually continue with this path, they might just really not be far off anymore.
Well, Messi is the campaign tool for the presidential aspirants there at Barcelona. Many of them, what they are campaigning is the fact that they are going to keep Messi, they are going to keep Messi. So it's still left to be seen if Messi will stay at the end of the season to sign a new contract, or if it will leave. But here's where I'm coming to faith. Atletico Madrid, they dropped points in the course of the week. Now they have one game in hand, and I'm wondering, are they beginning to show cracks?
It's too early to decide. You cannot see
5
that.
points top of the table with
of course, 5 points above, 6 points above Real Madrid in second place, and then you understand that they are playing the same opponents they met over the course of the week again this weekend. So maybe it's time for them to revenge or maybe get their points on board. They need to win that game to keep their title charge on track, and that is what I expect Diego Simeone and his boys to be doing. I saw that game over the course of the week, and maybe they were a little bit flat. It was a flat performance, and it can happen when you have this kind of good run of form. 1 or 2 bad games will always come in between here and there. It's bound to happen one way or the other in football, and maybe I don't want to read too much meaning into that draw. I believe they will get the necessary result to continue on their title chart, because they need to cast their eyes on the shoulders to see who is actually coming behind them. They understand that Real Madrid will be playing against a relegation threatened Real Valladolid. So maybe that will be a difficult one, because if Madrid should win and they should drop points, then the margin will begin to get cut down, and that will be very, very bad for them. And then Barcelona, on the other hand, they are playing Cadiz, and they understand that Cadiz is also a potential banana peel for Barcelona. So there's no better time to win your games than actually doing that this weekend. So I expect Atletico Madrid with Luis Suarez in the kind of form he is right now, charging them down to that title, getting wins on board. Luis Suarez will always win ugly by any way or any means possible. All what Suarez cares about is winning the games and winning the trophies. We all remember, I'm sure Ghanaians have not forgotten him. In fact, the entire African continent have not forgotten him. Many people, we all remember, Suarez with those controversial moments. But the most important thing is Suarez is always very clutch for his club side. He will get the goals. He will maybe win the penalties, win all those important free kick set pieces in those dangerous positions for your team, and maybe score 1 or 2 controversial goals. The most important thing, they will get the win. So I hope, Atletico Madrid will continue on their title challenge.
And Real Madrid on the other hand as well, struggling with injury worries. Benzema will not be available for this one.
Yeah, Real Madrid, they are struggling right now, but I think the struggle will go down to the lack of activity in the transfer market. For 3 transfer windows now, Real Madrid...
Is that they don't have money?
Maybe COVID is actually affecting them.
Before COVID?
Yeah, but then, it's something that we don't see often with Real Madrid. They always go into the transfer market, especially in the summer, to get one big signing or one marquee signing at least, or even get 2 or 3 players into their squad. But to get to realize that Madrid have not signed any player in 3 transfer windows, I mean, that is very unusual. Very unusual thing there. But maybe that is what is happening right now. With the injury worries, it's beginning to show on their team, because the squad is a little bit thin, and they are beginning to have to look to the old legs, people like Marcelo, to deliver the goods for them. So maybe Real Madrid, but I don't see so much problems for them this weekend, because they are playing against a team that
on the way to Real Valladolid.
Yeah, a team that has lost 10 games in the league this season.
18th in the table.
18th, and you look at that, they've dropped points they've drawn 9 games and lost 10, and you look at those kind of stats, and they've won only 4 games in the league. So you look at those kind of stats and you say, it shouldn't be too much from Real Madrid to get a win against them. But then it is football, anything can happen. But then it will be difficult to bet against Real Madrid in that one.
Indeed, difficult to bet against Real Madrid. And this is how the table looks like in the Spanish La Liga. Atletico Madrid top with 55 points from 22 games played. They've won 17 times and lost just once. And Real Madrid are second on the table with 49 points from 23 games played so far. And Barcelona third on the table with 46 points from 22 games. They've lost 4 and won 14, drawn 4 as well. Sevilla in 4th place with 45 points from 22 games. Real Sociedad are in 5th place with 38 points from 23. And the bottom 3, Real Valladolid in 18th, Elche in 19th, and SDOS Cadê in the 20th position. They're eyeing relegation at this point, of course, except their fortunes change before the end of the season. Away from Spain, we're landing in Italy now. Today it's Lazio Lazio against Sampdoria, Genoa against Hellas Verona, Sassuolo against Bologna, and tomorrow Parma versus Udinese, AC Milan versus Inter Milan, Atalanta versus Napoli, and Benevento versus Roma. AC Milan and Inter Milan quite understandably get our attention here because it's a derby, and of course it is the number one team on the log against the number 2 team. Just 1 point separating both sides, and we've seen lots of talking points between these two teams this in the course of the week, the course of the season rather. The recent one has to be the battle between Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Romelu Lukaku. Are we looking forward to something like that again? I think that's what makes the derby interesting.
Yeah, that is it, and that is why it's already building up the pulse, for this one. I think they met just last month in the Coppa Italia, and of course they gave us that huge talking points. But then this is just a different competition, but one with I think a bigger stake at that, because it is the stake for either Inter to pull clear 4 points further at the summit of the log, or for AC Milan to regain the top spot once again. AC were quite lackadaisical, disappointing the last time out against Spezia. I mean, I didn't see that coming, honestly. I felt this is supposed to be a walk in the park for them. Spezia actually having a terrible debut season in the Italian Serie A. They've won just one home game before hosting AC, the league leaders, as last weekend. But hey, AC didn't even get a goal, talk less of eventually winning that. So it seems like there is a need for them to actually uptone that kind of form and then get this one. But it is up against their city rivals, AC.
City rivals.
Against Inter, rather.
Hold your thoughts for a moment, AY. We need to join our partners at the BBC for the BBC Minutes. We return to continue with the talk about the Milan derby.
Splash FM 105.5.
Tennis to start this BBC Minute.
With Nikki and Cecilia.
Naomi Osaka is trending worldwide.
Yeah, with good reason. She has won the women's singles final at the Australian Open. She easily beat Jennifer Brady to seal her 4th Grand Slam title, and she's only 23.
Serena and Venus Williams and Kim Clijsters are the only other current female players to have 4 or more.
From tennis to football, the first of the day's 4 Premier League games gets underway shortly. Southampton host Chelsea.
To Afghanistan next. At least 5 people have been killed in separate blasts in the capital Kabul, an escalation in the number of attacks in the city.
YouTube is to permanently close its physical collaboration spaces worldwide. The locations in Berlin,
London,
LA,
New York,
Paris,
Rio,
and Tokyo had been shut due to the coronavirus.
The site says it'll use other ways to support creators.
And dolphins are clever mammals. A new study shows they have similar personality traits to us humans.
Yeah, curiosity and sociability are amongst them.
11:59
BBC Minute. Here is
105.5.
Accessing
105.5.
one station, all the hits.
105.5. Splash.
Quick, Charger 240. Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Welcome back. Thanks for keeping it locked on Splash FM. This is World Sports, the 90 minutes we have every Saturday talking sports. And we're talking about the Milan derby. That's the first derby we're talking about for the day. AC Milan and Inter Milan. Ewa was just telling us about his thoughts about that game, how these two teams, have been able to battle their way from what I should call oblivion, because at some point, this talk about these two teams, they were heavyweights in the Italian Serie A, and somehow they fell off the radar. But look at them now, top of the table, fighting each other. I think it's actually interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting at that. But then I think their way of actually trying to actually return into the spotlight is not really far-fetched. I think they're just pretty much trying to actually follow the prototype of or the blueprint of what Juventus have actually done in times past. Juventus, I think, in the last 7 or 8 years now, what they usually do is actually pick out some of the aging players across top 5 European leagues and then bring them on board, establish them, and of course infuse some other young stars in there, and of course they get to dominate the Italian Serie A, of course all Italian competitions, occasionally make it to the final of the Champions League as well. I think that's quite similar to what AC and Inter are currently doing. Look at their squad. Maybe not particularly aging players, but some sort of rejected players, let me put it that way, from the top 5 European leagues, bring them on board, establish them, of course, infuse some youngsters as well.
Rejected and aging. You have to put aging.
Not and or. I'll use rejected or aging. Lukaku is not aging, obviously, but then he's obviously rejected as far as I'm concerned at Manchester United. Yeah, at United, he was clearly. Except maybe some.
But Ashley Young is old.
Yeah, that's why I say either rejected or aging players, not and. Okay. So I mean that prototype is obviously working for them as well, and it's not really surprising that the results are forthcoming as we speak right now. But it is just about not backing it up with trophies, and unfortunately, I think only just one of those two teams would eventually get to win the title, at least for the first time. If at all, either of them will be winning it this season. And I think this is just the kind of games to eventually help them at least take some giant strides towards that. It's a metaphorical 6 points, like we usually say, top of the log battle. And obviously the pride also at stake in this one. But I'm looking at it from the tactical point of view. AC Milan seem to be more of a one that actually press up from the front. Obviously, they have some young bloods and, of course, rely on the playmaking ability of their left back player, Theo Hernandez, who for me has been a revelation for me. This is arguably my Italian Serie A player of the year, even over Lukaku, over Zlatan, talking about Theo Hernandez. But I'm also looking at it from the angle of international as well. That 3-5-2 formation is one that has been working magic. Conte is maybe religiously following that particular tactics everywhere he goes, and so far so good. It almost delivered for him last season. I think they missed out on the league title just barely by about 2 or 3 points last season. Now they are currently top of the log, so you can tell exactly how much this result has already fetched. I mean, this tactics rather has fetched him. I think coming up against AC Milan is just a perfect opportunity to actually weigh up that particular tactics once again. This time around, players will be requested to actually play out their hearts as well, ensure that they actually follow the tactics.
Between these two guys in terms of the attacking prowess of both teams now.
Definitely. I mean, talking about the best two forward players in the Italian Serie A, you must have to give it to these guys. Talking about Romelu Lukaku and of course Zlatan, we saw the input in which Ibrahimovic has been able to add it into that AC Milan team. Aside from the fact that he's scoring, the leadership quality has actually brought to the team, has been able to help them to this particular moment. I mean, that winning mentality keeps pushing on the field of play for these guys. Even when they are down, you know that there is a certain Zlatan that will keep pushing them, and that is what has actually helped them to get to this point. I mean, if you had told me at the beginning of the season that AC Milan was going to be a title contender, I would have actually argued that with you, because though they actually finished in the top 5 last season, but then I wouldn't expect them to actually compete the likes of Inter, Juve, and even probably Napoli. But at this time around, they are doing so well for themselves, so you expect a huge battle right there. But I think Inter have got a better combination of Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. I mean, these two guys have been so amazing this particular season. Their combination have been immense. Lukaku himself, I think, he scored his 300th goal against Lazio just last time out, and he's on, I think, 16 goals now. So I think, these guys have better synergy between themselves. They know when to actually pass. They know when to be their positioning, clinical. Talking about this too, so I think I would be more careful if I was AC Milan defenders than Inter Milan, because I know all eyes definitely be on Zlatan doing the job. But then you have two beasts, so to say, to deal with in Inter Milan. Talking about Lautaro and of course Romelu Lukaku. So I think for me, maybe Inter might just have that edge of taking this at the end of the day.
I would love to shock you here. If you are actually focusing on Zlatan as the main threat for AC Milan, I think you might be wrong. The biggest threat for me are just Theo Hernandez and Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Listen, those
guys are there to create.
Exactly. That's the point. That's the truth. When you don't create, how do you score?
If you don't have someone as clinical as Zlatan, probably they will not be at this position.
I saw this clearly against Spezia last weekend. Zlatan on numerous occasions had to drop deep to collect the ball against Spezia. Why? Because there was no service for him. Theo Hernandez was nowhere close to his optimum best. Obviously, Akachanaloglu, I felt it could have actually been subbed up at halftime, just to tell you how poor his performance was against, Spezia the last time out. So, indeed, you can actually focus on Zlatan as, of course, the man that usually steals the headline. But I'll tell you what, when you look at who you need to actually nip in the board, ensure that you actually limit any form of activity they would have on the ball, I think you should be focusing on Akan Chanaloglu, the Turkish midfielder, and of course Theo Hernandez.
Well, for me, I think the most important player for AC Milan is Frank Kessie. That is someone that you guys are not even looking at. He has been the one, the machine in the middle of the park for AC Milan. So they should also look at that man. He has been very phenomenal for them, very important for them. As much as all the guys you guys have mentioned have been doing their jobs, the African, the Ivorian has also been very phenomenal for AC Milan so far.
Okay, that's the Milan derby, and Juventus also fancied their chances against Crotone, who are bottom of the La Liga, the Italian Serie A rather there. So why?
They actually got to go in the first leg of this fixture.
Yes,
I think Juventus were held to a draw in that fixture.
That's why I said they fancied their chances, and also be very, very careful, because definitely, while the two top teams are going against each other, the best you can do for yourself is win your own game and try to close the gap between you and them. And in the German Bundesliga, well, we also have a derby there. But first off, is FC Köln against VfB Stuttgart today. Borussia Mönchengladbach against Mainz 05. Bayern Munich are going away to Eintracht Frankfurt. They survived the scare in the last game in the Bundesliga, and they returned from the FIFA Club World Cup. And the SC Freiburg against Union Berlin, and Borussia Dortmund going away to Schalke 04. That's the derby, the Revier derby. You heard us earlier on the show. We talked about it being, they call it the mother of all derbies, and Faith was trying to explain to us why it is the mother of all derbies. Well, on Sunday, that's tomorrow, FC Augsburg against Bayer Leverkusen, Hertha Berlin against RB Leipzig, and Werder Bremen are going away to Hoffenheim. So, Faith, what are we expecting from these two sides? The mother of all derbies.
You expect tackles flying here and there. You always face-to-face fixtures, games like this. You expect the players to play their hearts out, especially Borussia Dortmund, who they've not particularly been in the best of forms in the league in recent times. But then maybe the win in the Champions League during the week maybe would spur them on with their talisman, the man on everyone, the name on everyone's lips right now, talking about Erling Braut Haaland. We'll all be looking out for that young man at the age of 20 is now so mercurial. You look at the way he finishes, the way he runs into space. I mean, when you play against Haaland, I'm sure when you get home, you probably would need your spouse maybe massaging you and all that, because you definitely will feel the impact of that kind of forward running at you, the power, the pace as well. That is also very unusual, that someone with that kind of stature, someone that big, is also very fast. Also has a powerful shot on him and all that. So when you face him, you always feel the impact of having to cut the kind of threat he will bring out. So I believe that game will definitely provide fireworks, and we expect so many goals.
Allow me to put that into perspective a bit for you. Borussia Dortmund are 6th on the table. They have 33 points from 21 games played so far, and Schalke 04 are bottom. Surprisingly, they are bottom, 18th position. They have only picked 9 points from 21 games. That's I don't know what to put out.
Both teams are actually having a very
that,
terrible run in the domestic competition. Dortmund just won in their last 6. Schalke just won all season long. In fact, since the start of 2020, they've managed just one win.
They've drawn 6 games
in the German
14
Bundesliga.
and won once.
This is definitely not what you can actually.
What's going on with
achieve.
all of these teams?
I can't make a case for Schalke. I think the fact that they've lost a couple of quality players in recent years. Now they're just having to have a couple of them back. Recently, I think Sia Kolasinac joined them in January on loan deal,
Arsenal.
And I think they also nearly put off a deal, for Mesut Ozil, if not for the fact that they couldn't actually have a financial backing to eventually pull that up. But for Dortmund, I can't make an excuse for them. You look at their team sheet and you see loads of superstars, not just Bundesliga stars. I'm talking about world stars, and yet they just couldn't, get the required results for them. But now that you are coming up against Schalke, supposedly your bitter rival, opportunity to actually move up the ladder and possibly dent their own chances of even surviving relegation battle, I'm quite sure they would all be walking around. Just maybe to actually get that required victory for them. So maybe indeed, Dortmund are favored to get the win here. One that might eventually just boost their own morale as well.
Get them into top 5, because right now they are 6th away from European places.
Should they lose or even fail to win?
Yeah, I mean, more troubles, more misery.
The good news is I think they are going to have a new manager next season.
Yes, they would. They'll be having a new manager.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the manager Marco Rose.
Marco Rose. So they're having a new manager next season. Let's see how that will go for them at the end of the day. The English Premier League, Patrick Bamford felt Leeds were robbed of a point after the striker had an equalising goal ruled out in their 1-0 defeat to Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday. He had the goal chalked off by the VAR. That's in the 4-1 defeat to Crystal Palace in November. It was ruled offside, and raising his arm to point where he wanted to pass to, but the 27-year-old once again was aggrieved by a decision made by the video assistant technology. And then he went on Twitter, he said, "Gutted for the lads tonight, robbed of a point," before sarcastically adding, "but at least it's making the game better. We go again on Tuesday." That's sarcastically talking about the video assistant referee. We'll go on a very quick break right now. We'll return with the BBC Premier League updates, and that will take us to talk about the Merseyside derby, where Liverpool are hosting Everton. A repeat, hopefully it won't be a repeat in terms of injuries now, of what happened last time in October. Stay with us for more on World Sport on Splash FM.
Splash FM 105.5.
1960 bets don't return with big FCO as they don't arrange new management. We don't come back better and stronger. Then they pay commission to their agents' bank accounts and winnings to their customers. Sharply. No delay. Visit their website on www.1960bets.com. 1960 bets. Play and win.
The Ajimobi Legacy Forum, under the leadership of Chief Kule Soda, implores the people of Oyo State to join the moving train by revalidating their membership and as well register as members of the All Progressive Congress in the ongoing exercise. The time is now. Don't be left out. Announcer, Ajimobi Legacy Forum.
Up for the future. Study nursing, doctor of physiotherapy, medical laboratory science, accounting with ICANN professional certification, mass communication, criminology and security studies, software engineering, cybersecurity, biotechnology, and other relevant courses at Christland University, Abeokuta, the university arm of Christland Schools. Christland University is a world-class university with state-of-the-art laboratories, libraries, studio, entrepreneurship certification, and good accommodation within a conducive environment for learning. At Christland University, transfer to 200 and 300 levels are available at affordable rates. Top-up conversion programs are also available. Our upcoming program is law. Our fees are affordable with flexible payment plan. To apply, visit www.christlanduniversity.edu.ng or call 0813-266-3928 and 0802-304-6920. Grab this opportunity at Christland University. Intellectual radiance.
iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná a máa fúnni ní ìmọ́lẹ̀ a sì máa mú ìdẹ̀rùn wá láti wá dènà ìjàmbá iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná ojúlówó wáyà tàbí kébù ló yẹ ká fi fa iná nínú ilé lọ́fíìsì àti nínú ìlú Pure Wires and Cables ní àwọn ilé-iṣẹ́ mọ̀nàmọ́ná àti àwọn agbaṣẹ́ṣe yàn láàyò ojúlówó ni kì í bó lára kò kì í jóná àbáàdì kì í kán sínú ó sì fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ ìdí nìyí tí Standard Organization of Nigeria fi fòǹtẹ̀tẹ̀ tí Nigeria Electrical Contractors náà fi dìbò fún bí copper cable ṣe wà ní aluminium cable ń bẹ nípele lówó tí kò gún pa Pure Wires and Cables tó jẹ́ ọ̀kan lára àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ Kaman ló ṣe ojúlówó wires and cable jáde olú iléeṣẹ́ Pure Wires and Cables Limited wà ní Afrins Compound Fort Gate number 122/132 Oṣòdì Apapa Expressway Ìyànà Ìsọlọ̀ bus stop Lagos ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní 080-803-03257 Pure Wires and Cables ìrọ̀rùn fi iná mọ̀nàmọ́ná.
Some energy drinks promise power, but are more like this. What you need is this. New Predator energy drink. Rule your kingdom. Now sells for only 200 naira.
Honey, you haven't touched your food since I saved it.
Darling, I'm very worried and I'm tired of spending huge amount of money repeatedly on electronic appliances that keep breaking down. It's frustrating.
Daddy, the washing machine has stopped working.
Oh, not again.
So Solar Telecoms and Electronics Store, the Jagaban of phones and electronics, is the one sure place to get quality electronic appliances at the lowest price. In fact, Solar is currently offering you 20% discount on flat screen TVs, deep freezers, air conditioners, washing machines, gas cookers, and other appliances. Visit Solar Electronics showroom today at J. Allen Dugbe, Solar's Mega Store, Mokola Isolat Building, Mokola Palms Mall, and Challenge for all brands of electronic appliances and phones. Remember, Solat Electronics is offering 20% discount on all purchases. For inquiries, call 0701 684 1630. Solat Telecoms, you deserve the best.
Quick, charge at 240. Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello from Colin Harrison at the BBC Sports Centre. The Crystal Palace winger Wilfried Zaha says he'll stop taking the knee before games. The 28-year-old Ivory Coast international says he'll no longer follow the initiative adopted in the Premier League last June after the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement. Zaha told the BBC that it's degrading and not working.
Growing up, my parents let me know that I should be proud to be black no matter what. And I just feel like we should just stand tall. It's becoming something that we just do now, you know? That's not enough for me. I'm not going to take the knee. I'm not going to wear Black Lives Matter on the back of my... Because it feels like it's a target. We're isolating ourselves. We're trying to say we're equal, but we're isolating ourselves with these things that are not even working anyway.
There was one game in the Premier League on Friday with Wolverhampton Wanderers beating Leeds United 1-0.
Here comes Adama Traore, though, for Wolves, approaching the D. Shot, fierce off the bar, and bounces off Meslier and into the back of the net. How unfortunate for the Leeds goalkeeper. Wolves 1, Leeds 0.
The Fulham manager Scott Parker says it was unacceptable to throw a surprise birthday party for Terence Kongolo after their win at Everton. When the Dutch midfielder arrived home, he was greeted by friends to celebrate his 27th birthday, and Parker is not happy.
Not something which is acceptable, to be honest with you. Had the conversation with Terence. He didn't know a lot about it. My understanding of it. It was a surprise party. People who have obviously planned this have put him in a very vulnerable position. It's something which we will deal with as a football club in-house.
For more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Okay, we are back on World Sport on Splash 105.5 FM. This is the Integrity Station. The very first game of the weekend in the English Premier League will be on in a couple of minutes from now. It is Southampton at home to Chelsea, and Thomas Tuchel, the man has been on a winning run since he took charge there at Chelsea. Hopefully, he wants to continue on that. But before that, let's talk about the Merseyside derby. Feromi, Jurgen Klopp and Don Carlo Ancelotti. Klopp is saying that nothing will be carried over from the previous Merseyside derby. The last time they both met in October, in the 2-2, and that fixture also accounted a lot of injuries accounted for Virgil van Dijk, which in turn shaped or changed the entire duration of a Liverpool season. Well, as much as you want to say the injuries are nothing, but you also have to mention it. Of course. Are you expecting this fixture to produce as much fireworks as different from October?
Yeah, definitely. When you talk about the Merseyside derby, it's always bringing the fireworks. It's always bringing a lot of high-flying tackles like the one we saw in the first leg. You expect these guys to definitely go at each other. I don't expect, like you rightly said, to say he wants to actually go for revenge, because it wasn't something that was actually planned for in the first leg. Injuries are actually part of the game. It's sometimes not avoidable, and at this point in time it has happened. It's actually a game that looked like turnaround Liverpool season, because the moment those guys actually got injured, literally we might want to say that the problem starting for Liverpool in that particular one. But then today, I think this is a fight to actually be able to get back to the top four. I'm very sure at this point in time they know that the title contending for the title is looking like it's over for them. What they need to do now is make sure they actually get back, into the top 4, because right now they're currently 6th, just a couple of points above Everton themselves that they will be playing later today. So I think, it's a must-win game for them. Remember, just last time out, they also actually lost to Leicester City. And looking at Everton, they've not really been in the kind of form that you would expect them, being the kind of good form that they actually started the season with. At the start of the season on a very flying note, started winning games, but hey, they were not able to actually keep up with that kind of performance that they actually started with. So I think, it's more like a huge opportunity, a huge chance for Liverpool to be able to get back to that winning ways in the league. Remember, they're also won during the course of the week in the Champions League. Maybe they could actually build on that later today. So I think, this time around, Liverpool knows, John Claude knows that it's a must-win game for them if they want to have any chance of actually qualifying for the Champions League at this point in time, because I feel that is what is left of them fighting for at this point in time. They must win this game if they want to have any chance of qualifying for the Champions League.
Ferromi says it's the must-win. Champions League is the goal, immediate goal for them now. I mean, they went from we are attacking the title to
now they are attacking the top 4.
They are attacking the top 4. 16 points behind their league leader City, and they already considered defeat that, hey, the title is out of our hands at this point. But do you think Everton can still ruin their chances of that top 4?
Yeah, obviously. If there's one team that can do that, it's their neighbors, their local rivals, talking about Everton. I remember, was it last season or 2 seasons ago? No, the season they lost the league title by a point to Manchester City. It was one of those draws that actually made Manchester usurp them on top of the table. Was one of those draws against Everton. I remember that game ended goalless. Everton stood up to them, threw everything at them, and then it was just what it is. And that is something you always expect, that if there's someone that can stop Liverpool, maybe Everton can do that. And this Everton side that we've seen this season, obviously, the trophies sometimes can be inconsistent, but then we've seen that they have fireworks with Dominic Calvert-Lewin coming back, with Richarlison somewhere in the mix. You also look at Iwobi and look at the quality of players they have. They can actually stand up to these fumbling Liverpool side. So Everton obviously can do it, and for the sake of the game, maybe Everton should do it.
Maybe Everton should do it for the sake of the game. I don't know if Liverpool fans agree with that. I'd like to hear from you. 0809 155 1055, 08056 99 8678, and 0706 949 3000. If you have the balls to predict as well, call in. You have something for you as well. Let's get the games. You're predicting 2 games really. Pick 2 games and then you predict, and let's see how that goes for you. Also, Arsenal and Manchester City. Both men have been playing mind games with themselves, saying all sort of things. Guardiola is saying Arteta, I'm not Arteta's mentor. Arteta is saying he's my mentor. He's taught me a lot of things. And I saw a report where Guardiola was talking about Arsenal being the better side in most of the games that they have played this season. I'm like, guys, show why me. But hey, what are we looking forward to in that game?
This game, it's looking like a fight between a lion and a goat. It's looking like a no-brainer for Manchester. For Arsenal into this game, because looking at every department, talk about the goalkeepers, talk about the defense, midfield, attackers. They've got everything ahead of Arsenal in this particular game. And even aside from that, these guys are in the form of their life. They have the talent, they have the quality, they have the synergy, they have the identity at this point in time, which that is what is lacking in Arsenal at this point, especially the mobility for these guys. It is really, really lacking for them. So I don't know how they want to do it tomorrow, but then when the chips are down for Arsenal, that is when you see them having that inspiring performance against the big side. Maybe they could actually do that again later tomorrow. But for me, I think it's looking like Manchester City all the way.
Manchester City all the way. Our first caller here. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name, please?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Michael from Challenge.
Michael from Challenge. Okay. Yeah. What do you have for us?
I think Liverpool will win.
Scores.
But maybe it will be a very tough one.
Give me scores, Jare.
2-1, Liverpool, Everton, 2-1.
Now you're talking. Your second game?
Man City, Arsenal, 1-1.
1-1. Okay. What's your name again?
Yeah. Michael from Challenge.
Michael from Challenge. Thanks for calling, Michael. Okay, let's get 0809 155 1055, 08056 99 8678, and 0706 949 3000. Another caller here. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name, please?
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yemi Milano calling.
Yemi Milano.
Yes, sir.
AC Milan fan, Abi?
No, Chelsea.
Oh, as I hear Milano, no vex. Okay, predict.
Maybe it's Inter Milan.
It will be 2-1.
Which game?
Liverpool.
Liverpool to win 2-1.
Yeah.
And
then Arsenal 2-2.
Okay, Man City and Arsenal 2-2.
Arsenal 2-2, yeah.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Then for Chelsea 3-1.
3-1, okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You just picked two.
Thank you.
I've already picked your first two. Thank you for calling. Okay, in the CAF Confederations Cup, Eimba and Rivers United, they're going head-to-head again this weekend, tomorrow actually. Eimba they have a 1-0 first leg advantage ahead of that game at the Adoke Amesemaka Stadium in Port Harcourt. And the overall winners of this tie will progress to the very lucrative stage of the second tier of CAF's inter-club competition. Fatah Osho is saying that it's going to be a very tough one because from the first leg, both sides were really inseparable. They were really inseparable. But then they are missing Tosin Omoyole this time around. But who makes it through?
That would be difficult. That's a difficult one to call. Yeah, Yimba will go into that game with the advantage. The 1-0 win they got in the first leg. Maybe we don't know if that will be enough for them to go through, but I know that is an advantage that is still somewhere there. And then Rivers on the other hand, they have the advantage that they're playing the second leg on their own turf, and then maybe they will understand that the advantage. Both chairmen, the chairman of both clubs have been fighting dirty as regards this game. Letters to CAF here and there saying that Eimba is saying that Rivers they will be employing the services of thugs. I don't know if thugs will play the game or whatever, but I understand when two teams from the same country are fighting for a continental slot, this kind of things will happen. You expect both teams, both coaches, both benches, as a matter of fact, doing everything it takes for them to get it. Well, the most important thing for me is let the better team win and get a fantastic representation for Nigeria. At the CAF Confederations Cup.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Yeah, this is Hamid Dombo.
Hamid Dombo, welcome.
Yeah, I just want to predict the game.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I would like to challenge you guys. You guys hardly predict La Liga matches.
We are going to predict today, don't worry.
But let me just go for it here. Let me go for it here as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I believe that Merseyside derby will be a tough one for Liverpool.
Okay.
Based on their present form.
Okay.
I believe that everything will get a point from that match.
1-1 or 2-2?
Let me go for
1-0. 1-1. Okay.
1-1 goal. Second, Arsenal. I think Manchester City 3, Arsenal 1.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, AY.
All right, thank you for calling, Midombu. Thank you. Okay, and in the NPFL, gunmen attacked Adamawa United boss. The report is that they also abducted the driver. They were on their way
for 50 million.
They're asking for 50 million naira. It is a very sad tale. It's not funny at all. On their way to play against MFM. Now that game has been postponed now, but just during the course of the week, we heard about two bosses. And their canopilas as well, canopilas. Their bosses caught fire, and thankfully there was no issue from that, but it's really sad.
It's very, very sad, and that's what we keep talking about, the kind of structure we have in the NPFL. You can't want to travel that kind of long distance on the road and you expect something like that to not happen, especially the kind of country we live in at this point in time. Lack of security here and there, and that's what we're talking about. What does it really take for you to actually plan to actually fly these guys down to wherever they want to go to? It sounds impossible, but it's something that can actually be achieved. So I think maybe this will serve as a deterrent or probably as a lesson to this club side that something must actually be done. You can't be going for a game and you have to travel 10-15 hours before you get to the venue. Even aside from lack of security and all these, the kind of fatigue that this will actually cause for these players is also there at the point in time. So I think, a very, very sad one. Hopefully the driver gets released at the end of the day, but then I think something has to be done drastically from the LMC, from the NFF, and even from the owners of these clubs on the long run.
Indeed, something has to be done. It's not good news at this point, and that game has been postponed. But we have other matches in the MPFL. Akwa United against Plateau United, Jigawa Golden Stars against Nasarawa United. Jigawa games tomorrow, but today is Akwa United against Plateau United. Also have FC Fanyoba against Katsina United. Adamawa United are supposed to go to MFM. That has now been postponed because of the incident that happened. The driver has been abducted, and they're asking for 50 million naira in ransom. Kano Pillars away to Lobby Stars, Sunshine Stars against Heartland, Rangers against Heartland, Kwara United rather, and Wari Wolves against Abia Warriors. Wiki Tourists going away to Dakada, and Rivers United with Aimba. That's in the CAF Confederations Cup, and that game will be live on TV alongside the Akwa United and Plateau United games. They'll be live on mpfl.tv, so you can catch action of that one, really. But let's move away from football to other sports. We'll still come to the phone lines. In the UFC welterweight champion Kamaru Usman says he will be interested in moving up to the middleweight division, but only if his friend Israel Adesanya was no longer a champion. He says he doesn't want to fight him in any way.
Well, I understand what he's saying, but you leave brotherhood aside when it comes to sports. If he wants to, if he feels that's the next thing, then he might need to move up the weight division into the middleweight. But then, if he also wants to respect Adesanya in that category, then he can continue to dominate the welterweight. But one thing is very clear right now. There's no contender. There's no competition for him in the welterweight division. He's head and shoulder above every other fighter in that division. So if he continues to fight there, well, he'll continue to hold the title for as long as possible. Maybe if he wants a fresh challenge, then he probably will move into the middleweight division. But if he's looking at the Adesanya angle, well, maybe as a Nigerian, I wouldn't want that to happen. But then you leave brotherhood aside in football. It's just like maybe Paul Pogba playing against his brother, talking about Florentin Pogba, and then Florentin Pogba tackles him in the box. Wouldn't he ask for a penalty for his club side because it's his brother? You have to look at all those things. Sports doesn't necessarily care about those things. You just want to win for whatever franchise or whatever team, or for yourself that you're representing. So that is what sports is all about. So I understand what Usman is saying, but then if he feels it is necessary, then it's
I feel like the money is not right. If the money is right, perhaps he will change his mind on that one. And in basketball, the Tigers they rounded off the 2021 FIBA AfroBasket Championship qualifiers with a 76 point victory over Mali, who struggled to cope with the offensive power of the Nigerians. Nigeria is ranked number 1 in Africa at the moment, and we are in the most crazy form you can think of. I mean, they're in form at the moment. 6-0, they went through all of their qualifiers, and now they've qualified for the AfroBasket. Very good for them. They topped the Group B with a maximum of 12 points. And new entrants, South Sudan finished second, Mali finished in third, with 2021 AfroBasket host Rwanda finishing bottom of the group. What would the future be for this team if they're finishing bottom of the group in the qualifiers that they're hosting? Well, we'll wait to see. But good one, Nigeria is through to the next to the championship there, and they're also going to the Olympics. That's a very good one for international basketball in Nigeria at the moment. In the NBA, Joel Embiid scored a career high 50 points to go along with 17 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocked shots in the early hours of this morning to lift Philadelphia 76ers past Chicago Bulls. That's 112 to 105. And one result that caught my attention really is the Utah Jazz being clipped by the Los Angeles Clippers. They're humans after all.
They lost that game, and of course, Clippers actually stopped their 9-game winning streak in that particular one. If they had won that would have been a 10-game winning streak for them. I mean, amazing performance from Clippers, but then I think Utah Jazz, they know that this is the NBA after all. Anybody can actually beat anyone if you actually lose guard in that one, and that's what actually happened. But kudos to these guys. Talking about Kawhi Leonard, 29 points he was able to have in that particular one, and of course Marcus Morris as well, 17 points, 7 rebounds and 1 assist. But the 34 points of Donovan Mitchell was not enough, to actually make them win that particular game. These guys are still the best at this point in time. Take anything away from them. I mean, don't take anything away from them. These guys very, very amazing in that particular conference, and their coach will be the one to actually be in charge of Team LeBron
That's
in the NBA.
All-Stars.
Of course, in the NBA All-Star game that will be coming up next week. So I think a fantastic one for Clippers. But trust me, I think this Utah Jazz mentality, they will definitely bounce back.
Definitely, they will bounce back. And Joel Embiid as the MVP.
I mean,
of course, it has the likes of Dame Lillard.
Of course, at this point the time it's LeBron that is actually leading. Yeah. But then if you actually put him in contention, it's actually well deserved. He has been so amazing. I mean, 50 points this time around. That's something really, really crazy. Career high 50 point for Joel Embiid. I mean, it's amazing.
I'll be happy if he wins the game because another African getting the MVP will be huge for me. I mean, after Giannis Antetokounmpo, got it from the last time out. In tennis, Faith, Naomi Osaka, of course. She's now, you can call her one of the most outstanding women athletes in the world at the moment. I mean, because of the performances she's put out time and time again, every time she's had to do that. And the latest for her was winning the Australian Open. 6-4, 6-3. She defeated Jennifer Brady to win the Australian Open. 4 Grand Slam titles to her name at this point. There is no stopping Naomi Osaka. Yeah,
there's no stopping her. She has now become a big heavyweight in tennis right now, especially on the hard court. She's something to watch out for, a beauty to behold, you have to say. Whenever she's on the court, she's so good and she's so athletic. She knows how to find her spots, and then she's also very calm. When our coach was talking ahead of that final, talking about Wim Fissett, he was saying that she's very calm, and then she makes the best of decisions on the court. Maybe when your coach is saying that, you understand that the coach knows what he's saying, that when he expects you to do this, then you make the most important, the best decision at that moment. And those are the qualities of champions that you always look out for. And the way she blew away Brady, maybe it wasn't as competitive as when they met in the semi-finals of the US Open in 2020, because she was also the one that knocked out of the US Open. But what we saw in that game was someone that understood the game and had unbelievable mental strength, because at some point, Brady tried to claw her way back into the game, but then she would tell you, I'm winning this thing in 2 straight sets. There's no way back for you. And that was what she just did. Easy, really. Yeah, it was a very easy game for her, but a good one for Naomi. I hope she will now begin to look at other tournaments. Now she's won the Australian Open twice. She's won the US Open twice as well. So she should look at the Wimbledon and the French Open, where she has not done so well.
And speaking of doing well on one court and not doing well on the other, Novak Djokovic, the king of the hard court, you want to say. The way you talk about him, I think, is perhaps the way you should talk about Rafael Nadal on the clay court. So when you talk about Nadal being the mud man, then you should also talk about Djokovic being the hard court man.
Of course.
I mean, he's gone in for a record extending title at the Australian Open finals.
Definitely. You can't take it away from him. I mean, he has actually dominated that hard court. Yeah, he has actually made it his own. And, you can't take it away from him. When he's actually on that, you know that he's actually the favorite to winning this. And going to that game tomorrow, I think, he has to be very careful. He's under huge pressure now against
He's the one under the pressure, not Medvedev.
I think he's the one under the pressure. Why? Because, this same guy actually defeated him in ATP finals, I think, last year, where he actually won eventually. So I think, going into that game, he would believe that if I can do it before, I can do it again. And he has actually done it against the big guys in this particular competition, talking about Dani Medvedev. So I think, be very careful. Don't give him that opportunity to hit you on the break, as in, don't give him that chance. Don't make those first errors that would give him opportunity to actually hit you back. And if you can do that, probably he would be actually winning that.
Djokovic has played through injury all through this career, this particular tournament. So maybe Medvedev would like to get past Djokovic's mental strength, and maybe you're home and dry. Of course, you know who I'm voting for, who I'm rooting for in this game. But guys, who are you rooting for? Prediction time, quickly, Faith.
Well, I think Djokovic will win, but we'll have
Djokovic will win.
At least 4 sets.
But Djokovic will win.
Yeah.
Djokovic all the way.
Okay.
Djokovic all the way.
And then straight to the derbies, Italian derby. Prediction.
AC Milan will win that one.
Of course.
Wow, 2-0.
A draw. Okay, I think Milan should win 3-1 against Inter Milan.
Oh, wow.
Merseyside derby.
2 all draw. 2 all draw.
Liverpool to win.
1-1, both teams. And Arsenal, AC Milan.
Arsenal,
Manchester City, rather.
I think Arsenal will win 2-1.
Fair on me.
Well, maybe a draw.
A draw. Arsenal and Manchester City. Arsenal won, Manchester City 3.
City to win.
No, why you guys? I can justify it. Why Arsenal?
Arsenal won, Manchester City 3. That's my prediction. Well, the first game of the English Premier League is on. Southampton and Chelsea. It's goalless. 14 minutes gone in that game. Quickly, what are you saying on social media, on Twitter? Adewale Abdulhafiz says Liverpool and AC Milan win. Arsenal, it says, well, I'm hoping for the best, though I am not optimistic. Okay, that's an Arsenal fan there. You can tell with the tone of his message. On Facebook, Abu Kasim says, good afternoon to you all. Liverpool will beat Everton. Milan and Inter will end in a draw. Oluwole Jeumi says, go Arsenal. There could be a surprise. Yeah, love you guys. We love you as well. Thanks for being a part of our show this afternoon. Can we do more comments before we leave? Okay, this is from Fiz Abiola. It says, nice one. And Otubanla Paso says, okay. Oh, well, we've been talking about the Milan derby. He's been asking about the topics. We're talking about the Milan derby. All of the great fixtures that we have lined up for us to enjoy this weekend in the world of sport. But we have to leave the studio right now. Thanks for being a part of our show. We'll be back here next Saturday at 12:30. Before that, on Monday, 7:30 a.m., Sports Bank will be all yours. Thanks to Feromi for being here.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Faith Adediji, thanks for being here as well. And on behalf of Ayoba Meni Marshall, who is not here right now, thank you for being a part of the show. My name is Blessing Fowowe. Have a great weekend. Au revoir.